All right, guys, we got episode 2 of 3 ways to improve fill in the blank. This week, we got my coach, Adam. He's doing 3 ways to improve strategy for workouts. I think it's one that a lot of people can learn from, like at CrossFit Games level, someone that's doing the open, because I think that's something that we've had pride on ourselves on for the past 3 or 4 years at the games. I think it's one of the things that I think our team executes on really well. And Adam's going to give you an insight on it. So here he is.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Adam Knifer, own CrossFit Fort Vancouver. And man, I've been doing CrossFit for like 20 years now. And been working and coaching Justin Medeiros really since 2019. So about the last 5 years. I think we're going on year 6. And today we're going to talk about CrossFit workout strategy. It's something that we think about all the time, but maybe don't talk about that often. So instead of giving you like 3 tips for CrossFit workout strategy, I'm going to give you 3 questions that you can ask next time you're looking at a CrossFit workout. So let's just get right into them. Number 1 is just asking yourself, what's possible? Like in this workout, what is possible? Number 2 is what's possible for me specifically? Or if you're a coach, what's possible for the athlete that I'm coaching? And then number 3 is, in this workout, where's an opportunity for me to get a win? Where's my opportunity to win this workout? You might be wondering, like who cares? Why even think about CrossFit workout strategy? And I've just been doing this stuff for so long. I have a lot of fun with not just doing a workout mindlessly, but actually thinking it through, being thoughtful, being intentional, and trying to do every workout with a purpose. So if you're a competitive athlete, then having the right strategy is critical to you performing well on the competition floor, right? You have a set amount of fitness, and if you go out there on the competition floor and you don't get it right, you're leaving meat on the bone, and nobody wants to do that. We all have that friend in the gym that has like the craziest numbers in the gym, and you're like, man, how do they not win every competition, and just can't seem to put it together out there on the competition floor. So having the right strategy is super helpful for an athlete like that. Let's say you're not a competition athlete, you're just an everyday CrossFitter that wants to get fitter. Doing your workout with a purpose and understanding what that purpose is and being intentional will just help you get fitter. And same thing for the coaches out there. If you coach CrossFit athletes, whether it's classes, competitors, you name it, like our job is to help our athletes get fitter. And so, being able to think through a workout and come up with an effective strategy is going to help our athletes on the competition floor, but it's also going to help us serve them better regardless of what their goals are. And that just helps with buy-in. It makes it more fun, and it makes the workout, I don't know, sometimes more like a game than just another workout. So yeah, with that, let's get into the 3 questions. I'm going to actually use a practical example of a workout that you might see, actually a workout that we have seen, just to kind of apply these questions to and apply the concepts of coming up with a workout strategy. So the workout that we're going to look at is actually the 2024 semifinals event number 2, which is 5 rounds of 100 double unders and then 20 toes to bar and 10 front squats. The weight on the front squats was 225 for the men and 155 for the ladies. So question number 1, what is possible? I'm a numbers guy, and to answer that question is just some simple math. So we're going to look at the movements and the rounds, and we're going to figure out what's possible. Since this workout is for time, we're going to figure out what kind of time is possible. So let's look at the double unders. 100 double unders is going to take roughly 1 minute. You can go a little faster, or you can take a little longer. But if you do 100 unbroken double unders, we're looking at about 1 minute. 20 toes to bar. Cycle time for most people on toes to bar is about 1.5 seconds a rep. Once again, you can go a little faster or a little slower than that, but let's say, just for the sake of simple math, that 20 toes to bar is about 30 seconds. Then you move to the front squats, 10 front squats. If you can do those really quickly, you're looking at 20 seconds because a squatting movement is usually about 2 seconds per rep. This is, I would say, moderately heavy for most people, so let's call it 30 seconds to complete those 10 front squats. So if we add that up, 1 minute for double unders, 30 seconds for toes to bar, and 30 seconds for our front squats, we have 2 minutes per round. Multiply 2 minutes per round times 5 rounds, and there's 10 minutes of work involved in this workout. right? So, obviously there's a little variation in that. There are some people that might be able to cycle those reps a little quicker than others, but in general, there's 10 minutes of work to get done. So we know that any time taken in this workout beyond 10 minutes is, rest time or transition time, of time that's not, where work's not being done. And so our goal as an athlete is to spend as much time in this workout as we can working, right? So that we can, get done with the total work as quickly as possible. Obviously, on the competition floor, when we saw this at semifinals, there was an increasing amount of transition involved just because the athletes had to advance their barbell, down the floor. And we can talk about that and add in a little bit extra time there. But in general, there's about 10 minutes of work to get done. So question 2 then is not just what's possible. We know that 10 minutes of work is possible, but what's possible for me specifically, or for an athlete that I might be coaching or working with. And that's where you got to kind of look at the workouts just maybe a little bit more in depth and dive into the movements themselves, the loading, those pieces. So when I look at this workout, I kind of anchor it off of what I would consider probably the most challenging piece of the workout, which is the 10 front squats. 225 or 155 is, it's not a max front squat, but it's definitely not nothing. It's significant. And I know that if that front squat weight is significantly more than 60% of an athlete's 1 rep max, then it's going to be, a job to get those 10 front squats done unbroken, right? If we're talking about, 70, 75, 80% of an athlete's 1 rep max, then expecting to do those front squats unbroken isn't probably a realistic option for you. On the other hand, if you're an athlete that, front squats 450 and that's half your max, then you would not only expect to do those front squats unbroken, but you'd expect to be able to move that bar with a purpose and even, focus on moving it with some speed. And so for an athlete like Justin, who does have that front squat max in the mid 400s, this 225 barbell is like half of his max. So we know that for him, not only is he going to do the front squats unbroken, he's also going to have enough gas in the tank to push pace on the other movements. So that means that, if you kind of back up to the toes to bar and those double unders, because he can handle the front squat weight, it makes sense for him to shoot for not only doing the double unders and the toes to bar unbroken, but also really limiting that rest or transition time in between movements, right? We had a couple other athletes at semifinals this year, Adam McAdam and Trista Smith. For both of those athletes, like they could do those front squats unbroken, but it was a much higher percentage of their max. And so instead of, trying to do everything else, like the double unders and the toes to bar fast, we set a goal of trying to do the front squats unbroken, because doing those front squats in one set allows them to minimize the number of cleans that they had to do to get the barbell up to the rack position. But we knew that in order to make that happen, they were going to have to be a little bit more thoughtful and take a little bit more time on the double unders and on the toes to bar to get to that front squat barbell with enough gas in the tank to do all 10 reps unbroken. And so we planned some like intentional breaks, even from the very first round, both in the double unders and the toes to bar, for those athletes to make the most of this workout. We also did this workout in our gym. And so if we're looking at like an athlete that's not a semifinals competitive athlete, then, having some competition strategy gives us a little bit more insight into how we can best scale this for everybody in our gym. What we looked at was finding a front squat that's about 60% of a 1 rep max. That's going to allow those athletes to move through it. And then figuring out a number of double unders or potentially singles where an athlete could complete those reps in a reasonable time, like a minute and a half, something like that. Same thing for the toes to bar, a number where you can get through it in about a minute. And so, this kind of idea of asking what's possible in general, and then working backwards to what's possible for me or what's possible for my athlete will help, the competitive athlete make the most of their experience on the competition floor. And it'll help our everyday athletes, just have like the most favorable adaptation to that stimulus for that workout for that day. And I think that's a lot of fun, right? Question 3 comes down to like, where is my opportunity to win in this workout? And this is always a really interesting question because obviously on the competition floor, like finding an opportunity to win is important. That doesn't mean that athlete's going to win the workout and get first place overall, but like win the workout for them, right? Uh, we talk a lot about like how do you win the race that you're in, right? If there's yourself and 5 people around you, how do you try to beat those people that are about the same fitness as you? And looking for an opportunity to win starts with like looking at the workout and trying to identify ahead of time, where's the crux? Where is this going to get hard? Where is the struggle going to happen? Sometimes it's really obvious. Other times, you know, you don't realize it until after you did the workout. And we always say, hindsight is 20/20. You can always see, when you're looking back at a workout, oh, I should have done this or that. But our goal is to have hindsight in the present moment, because if this workout gets really challenging for you at some point and you're surprised by that, there's a high likelihood that you're going to underperform. But on the flip side of that, if you look at the workout thoughtfully and you kind of know what's coming and you have an expectation for like, man, this is where I know it's going to get really difficult for me, and you have an expectation and a plan for how to approach that, then you're going to be able to attack it and move through it, hopefully a lot more successfully. And so in a 5-round workout, all things being equal, typically round 4 is the one where people tend to suffer the most. And so, for an athlete like Justin, when we look at where's his opportunity to win, it is going to be making sure that round 4 is not your slowest round, right? If you have a big drop off in round 4 and round 5, you're on survival mode, and then you have like this, this hero kick at the very end, you're going to perform a lot worse than if you can be, consistent across the board and your round times 1 through 5 don't change too much. And so his opportunity to win would be like, hey, I'm going to be very disciplined. Even though I could probably go a little faster in rounds 1, 2, and 3, I'm not going to get sucked into the trap of like that, going out too hot type of mentality. I'm going to be disciplined and pace those first 3 rounds properly so that I can win the back half of the workout and move efficiently through rounds 4 and 5. All the time you hear people saying, I just went out too hot. And oftentimes I think that's just an excuse to kind of have that victim of circumstance mentality of like, it just happened again. That's just what happened, versus like being intentional and being like, no, I'm going to go out there with a plan. I'm going to be disciplined enough to move at a pace where I can be steady for start to finish. For another athlete in this workout, say like a semifinal athlete like Mac and Trista, their win might be, continuing to do all those rounds of front squats unbroken. That might be a huge win for an athlete like that. For people in our gym, just finishing it under a time cap, I think the time cap was 18 minutes, could be a massive win. And so that's going to vary for every person, but looking ahead of time of like, hey, what's the purpose of this workout in training? Certainly, we're not trying to win every workout necessarily in training. Obviously on the competition floor, that's important, but in training, you're looking for like, hey, how can I approach this with a purpose that allows me to improve my fitness the most? And sometimes that means the fastest overall time. Sometimes that means that you're focusing on one piece of that workout. But having a strategy that, allows you to look for an opportunity to win and be intentional with that from the start is pretty fun. And it's definitely something that like just makes us fitter. So, just like looking back, I just encourage you guys to, think about those things. Next time you just see a CrossFit workout, instead of just being like, all right, I'm just going to blindly go into this and see what happens. Maybe start with those 3 questions of like, hey, number 1, what's possible? Number 2, what's possible, or like what's realistic for me or for the athlete that I'm working with? And number 3, like, where's an opportunity for me to find a win within this workout? And I think that, strategizing CrossFit workouts and training is a skill set that, you can develop over time. Like I said, if you're an athlete, you're going to perform better. But if you're a coach, man, you're just going to get better at your job. And either way, that's a win for the people that we get to work with. And I think you'll have a lot of fun doing it too. So test out those questions, see how they go. If you have questions for us or comments, 100% reach out. I mean, this is what we do: eat, sleep, and breathe. Training and fitness. So we love it. Let us know how it goes.